2023 was an absolute banger year for gaming. There was just so many quality titles that came out that we just couldn't keep up. I mean, a lot of us are still catching up and playing last year's games right now. But still gotta look ahead because 2024 looks like it's gonna be an absolute banger year as well. Hi guys, I'm Feral Aussie Gamer, and as the year unfolds, more dates will get announced, so I'll update my list and get another one down the line. But for now, I wanted to create one for near the start of the year. Before we get to the top 10, I want to throw out a few games that almost made the cut but just fell out. Let's get started.
Advantage of your enemies.
The astral realm is Lilith's home.
The first honorable mention I want to bring up is Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, coming out February 1st. An RPG set in a beautiful world. The combat looks very flashy, and with huge bosses to fight, this game really looks like it's fun to play. A demo has just dropped on the PlayStation Store, and for the small time I've played, it feels like a Monster Hunter kinda game. You've got these big monsters which you can go multiplayer with other real people to try to tackle them down. I would keep this one in mind even though February's gonna be a busy month. The second mention I want to talk about comes out a few weeks after on February 14th. A nostalgic gem with the original Tomb Raider getting remastered. Not one, not two, but three. All three of the original Tomb Raiders getting a little bit of a graphic remaster. I would assume they would do minor little fixes as well, such as the camera and the gameplay little twerks like that, just to make the quality of life a little bit better. Other than that, I'm perfectly fine with a small remaster and keeping the rest in an original state. And with a decent price point, it's a good chance to check out where the original Tomb Raiders began. The third game I want to mention about is Eden Chronicle 100 Heroes. This one's been quite through a journey to get to where it is today. This game was actually crowdfunded on Kickstarter way back in 2020. It was started by the creator of the old Konami Suikoden series that was made by Yoshitaka Murayama. He wanted to see if people still loved the Suikoden series and see if they wanted some sort of spiritual successor. The Kickstarter passed its goal extremely easy and almost making 10 times of its original stretch goal. As for Eden Chronicles itself, it does say you can recruit 100 heroes in the game, making this sound like a really epic RPG. Also, as a big fan of the original Suikodens, I can't wait to get my hands on this one on the 23rd of April.
What is going on here?
The last game that makes the mention list comes out on March 20th, where we're going to get some survival horror love with Alone in the Dark. A new proper entry in the series which we haven't had since 2008. 2008 version was kind of a mixed bag, but overall I thought it wasn't that bad. But it did get play slammed by critics. Still, it's surprising that it's taken this long to get a new entry in the series. From the looks of the gameplay here, it looks similar to the Resident Evil games, and judging by the trailers, it looks like you're gonna have a limited amount of ammo and have to rely on stealth. Also, it looks like it's got a good cast of characters, such as David Harbour leading the way. I'm curious to see how creepy they go with this one, and see if that's gonna mess with people's minds. I'm a big horror guy, so I'll be definitely checking this out come March 20th. So, for now I'll put together my personal top 10 games of 2024 with current release dates.
The only thing we know for sure is that time marches forward.
Making the number 10 spot is Rise of the Ronin, an action game made by Team Ninja exclusively for PlayStation 5. Set in Japan in the late 19th century during the final years of the Edo period, you're stuck in a war between two rival factions. Now what's interesting here, it says the story can change during key moments of the game, allowing players to decide to fight or not, which will change the story. So it looks like depending on what actions you take, the story will change in one way or another in a dramatic way. Also, it means there's a lot of freedom of choice in this game, so it'll be interesting to see how far they take it. As for the gameplay, Team Ninja have already proven themselves making great action games such as the Neo series, Ninja Gaiden, and last year's Wulong Fallen Dynasty. This game is looking amazing on PS5, so I can't wait to get my hands on this one. Coming in at number 9 is a long-awaited sequel to the cinematic masterpiece that is Hellblade 2. This uniquely styled action game mixed with a Norse mythology setting has been in development for a really long time. I loved the original back in 2017 and been waiting patiently for a sequel since its announcement way back in 2019. Senua continues to fight as a Celtic warrior while battling demons in her head. I really love how dark and personal the story plays out, mixed with some pretty freaky psychological horror to it. Developer Ninja Theory always craft beautiful and story-driven games, so I'm confident they're gonna have a winner here coming May 21. For number 8, coming out March 8th is Unicorn Overlord, a tactical role-playing game made by Vanillaware. Now if you don't know who Vanillaware is, they're a pretty small company but have made some pretty cool games, such as 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, Dragon's Crown, and an old title that they did a remaster called Odin's Spear. Every time they bring out a game, it's very unique in its art design and gameplay, and this is looking no different. Great storytelling, memorable characters, and an awesome combat system. In Unicorn Overlord, we'll be commanding large armies and commanders with big battles in real-time combat. When you're not fighting, you can enter large towns and engage with merchants, blacksmiths that you can outfit your army and engage in story or other optional quests. For me, this is a very me game, but if you do like tactical RPGs, this one's for you. For number 7, it's a title I thought I would never see the light of day, Stalker 2. What a roller coaster development ride this one's been on. Originally supposed to be released over a decade ago, it's been through rough cancellations, revivals, hacks, and delays due to the war going on in the Ukraine, where the development team is based from. The original Stalker was very unique for its time, and not just a typical survival horror FPS. It had RPG elements, branching story paths, all which would lead to many possible and different endings. A technical marvel of its time back in 2007, Stalker 2 here is also looking one of the best looking games this year. It'll be interesting to see where they go with its non-linear storyline and huge open world. Hopefully, finally, we'll be getting our hands on this long-awaited sequel come September the 5th. Next up, my number 6 is actually coming out tomorrow. That is Tekken 8, the next installment in the Tekken series. Another long-awaited title this one, and wow, they've built this one from the ground up, and it absolutely looks amazing running on the Unreal Engine 5. And with 32 different characters you can play as, with all new gameplay tweaks, move updates, this one's gonna be tons of fun. I've been a really big fan of this series for a long time, ever since the PS1 days, so I'm so excited to get this one and have a blast with it.
Good morning.
Let's begin.
Halfway down, making to my number 5 spot is Persona 3 Reload, a remake of Persona 3, which came out way back in 2006 for the PlayStation 2. This Atlas RPG is beloved by older gamers such as myself, and this was the game that I couldn't study while in college because I was putting so many hours into this very addictive game. With the big graphics overhaul, quality of life improvements, this one's going to be a real nostalgic gem to get back into. If you're a more modern gamer and you played Persona 5, definitely grab this one coming out February 2nd and see why fans wanted the remake for it. Getting to number 4, we have the highly anticipated and another long-awaited sequel that is Dragon's Dogma 2. This title by Capcom is one of those we just didn't know whether it was going to come out or not. Capcom announced a game called Deep Down shortly after Dragon's Dogma 1 came out. It looked like it was going to be a spiritual successor and come out early on the PlayStation 4, but nothing came from it. So we continued to wait to see if there was going to be a sequel follow-up. It wasn't until mid-2022, 10 years after the original came out, that the sequel was announced. Now on March 22nd, we can finally get our hands on it. This will be a big open world game filled with lots of monsters to hunt and quests to do. It even has a day and night cycle and impacts how creatures are encountered. I really enjoyed the original, so I'm looking forward to this when this comes out. Closing in at number 3 is a game that's got a lot of attention since its first reveal. Black Myth: Wukong, a fantasy action game by Chinese developer Game Science. When they showcased the pre-alpha trailer back in 2020, it wowed gamers, including myself, with its incredible visuals, unique character designs, epic-looking enemy and boss fights, all while playing as a badass monkey who could transform into different forms and beings. It's definitely got a good Souls vibe to it, but everything in this game looks like it's just dialed up to 11, and it absolutely looks nuts. The combat looks wild, and the smooth animations for such a detailed game is simply amazing, and one of the most impressive games for this year. A lot of people are excited like myself, so August 20 can't come soon enough. Making my number 2 spot, also coming out tomorrow, is Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, the next installment in the Yakuza series. This one I'm totally hyped on. I mean, it just looks and plays absolutely amazing. It just speaks for itself. There's just an infinite amount of wealth to this game. Just look at the amount of things you can do in it. With the mini games, job classes, with the crazy story and characters. And with Ichiban and Kazuma returning, this one's just going to be an awesome game. I mean, the trailers really showcase how fun this game will be. And that's what games are all about, right? Having fun? And Infinite Wealth looks like it's that perfect kind of fun. My number 1, without a doubt, and one of the biggest games coming out this year, is the second installment of the Final Fantasy VII Trilogy series with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth coming February 29. Now what can you say at this point that they haven't already shown? I mean, it absolutely looks top tier. And wow, it'll be interesting to see where they go from here. I really love Final Fantasy VII Remake, and where it went in terms of its story and creating something new. In Rebirth, it looks even bigger, now with the exploration of the world outside Midgar, with all those memorable locations and characters we remember from the original Final Fantasy VII. But since we know the timeline is different in this series, it's totally fresh, and we just don't know how the story and characters will unfold. Final Fantasy VII is one of my favorite games of all time, so obviously this rightfully sits at the top of my list as the number 1 game I'm looking forward to this year. So there you have it. That's my top 10 games I'm looking forward to this year, at least those with current release dates. Thanks for watching till the end. If you enjoyed it, hey, leave a like, why don't ya? And make sure to click subscribe to see my future videos. Stay feral, catch you next time.